The UK is in the midst of a housing crisis. Housing is extremely expensive both to buy and to rent. The problem is particularly acute in growing cities like Oxford, Cambridge, London and Manchester. Why? There are three key reasons. Firstly, interest rates are low around the world, which means that any given size of mortgage is easier to service. Secondly, incomes have been rising rapidly for the last 40 years, which means that people demand more housing. And thirdly, planning restrictions mean that building houses is difficult. Point 1. Low international interest rates mean that any given size of mortgage is easier to service every month. This doesn't drive rents up, but it does drive house prices up because housing is partly an investment. Point 2. Incomes. Since the 1970s, incomes have been growing rapidly in the UK. When people get richer, they demand not just more housing, but better quality housing and housing in better locations. This drives rents and house prices up. Point 3 is the most important. In the UK, planning restrictions are very tight. In other places in the world, they face the same pressures, higher incomes, lower interest rates, but they haven't seen rising house prices and they haven't seen rising rents. The reason is because they allow firms to respond to changes in demand. When demand rises, supply rises, and rents don't need to go up. Cities like Houston and Tokyo are very good examples. So what can we do? We could try and push up interest rates, which would have plenty of other undesirable side effects and wouldn't even solve the problem of rents. We could try and bring down incomes to make house prices and rents come down. You can decide for yourself whether that's a good idea. Or we could allow house builders to respond to demand with increased supply. I think the answer is obvious.